It is 10 past 1, but may I request you to imagine it is 7:30 in the morning, and you will very soon realize that across the country, when the school bells ring, 250 million children come to our 1.5 million schools with two invisible futures. Future number one, unseen, a silent, a very powerful future, which is governed by the artificial intelligence or the algorithms. And the future number two, that we are living on this earth, which is almost brutalized, hurt, and deteriorated. But can we make this earth livable? These are the two futures which our children have to grapple with. And then 10 million teachers in our schools and many more elsewhere, and the policymakers have to find an answer. In my experience, the answer is yes, because the answer could not simply be no. We have to prepare our children for both the futures. If that is the answer, then everybody who has been through a school knows at least three things. That is, schools function on something that is called curriculum. Schools function through that curriculum by an instrument called pedagogy. And the third, once this pedagogy has been treated, we have to have an assessment. And therefore, I want to tell you what is this curriculum which will prepare our children for both the worlds, the world of the algorithm and the world of our planet. And that curriculum is based on 5 P's. P, number 1, the people. P2 is planet. P3 is peace. P4 is prosperity. And P5 is partnership. But these are not ordinary words. When we talk of people, what we mean by is that in our future, the people will always take the center stage. When we second P comes to us in the form of a planet, what we mean by that is that we have always to be reverent to that planet, which nourishes all of us. And just to give you a figure, this figure is 7 billion on this earth and will very soon be 10 billions. When we talk of peace, it has to be enduring. It has to be lasting. When we talk of prosperity, it has to be shared. It doesn't have to be accumulative in the hands of the few. And when we talk of partnership, it has to be flourishing. It has to be flourishing for those people, for that planet, for that peace, and for that prosperity. Once this curriculum is set out, we have to go and find the fountain and the source from where this curriculum flows. And that source I want to bring in here is a 5-fold development of human potential. And that is called, in our Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, dated back to 3,000 years from today, talks about 5 koshas, 5 sheaths. What are those sheaths? The first one is Annamaya, the physical body. The second one is Pranamaya, the life forces, the vitality. The third one is mental and emotional, and that is Manomaya. And then comes the wisdom, the knowledge, and that is Vijnanamaya. And the last one, which gives us the joy, the purpose of life, meaning the truth, and that is called Anandamaya. Now, this is an Indian construct, but from the days of Upanishad, it has been translated and decoded to us ordinary people by the seers, by the masters, by the enlightened people, including Sri Aurobindo, Vivekananda, Dr. Radha Krishnan. But even in the Western societies, 100 years ago, a famous psychologist, Abraham Maslow, decoded almost a similar thing where he said that the humans grow from fulfilling the basic physical need to the need of the highest order called self-actualization. In the African culture, there is something called Ubuntu, which means I am here because we are. In many other civilizations, there has been a talk that the men and the women should live in reverence with the planet or the land. And therefore, the Panchakoshiya Vikas that I talked about is not an isolated phenomenon. There is a great symphony in the word which talks about human development. And Panchakosh is the gift to the universe by the Indian civilization to join that chorus of human development. So that's about the curriculum. Now the next question is, how do we translate it into our classrooms? And that is what we call very popularly as pedagogy. And look at that. We want the Annamaya Kosh to be developed. How can that happen if our children do not touch the soil? If they do not go and talk to the farmers? If they do not feel the pulse of what is happening in that soil? If they do not do that, they will not understand what is food. They will not understand what is the scarcity of the food. They will not understand what is hunger. They will not understand what is poverty. So this is the Annamaya Kosh. Come to the Manomaya Kosh. In our literature and English or Hindi or Sanskrit classes, I think we have to have these stories of kindness, compassion, reconnection, which will build our vitality, which will build our emotions. We have to go to the science classes, let's say. Can we not convert the science classes into studying the rhythm of the earth, the energy cycle, the water cycle? The earth is already suffering from excessive floods, the wildfire, and so many other calamities. I think the science classes can be converted into that. The mathematics classes, which is a rather difficult subject, and all of us want to maximize our score in mathematics. I wish that all of you do that, but my only request is, along with that maximization, can you think of reducing your score in the carbon footprints that you produce on this earth? Similarly, the music. Similarly, the mindfulness classes. All this can be done by the teachers, and AI can help them. The only difference is that AI doesn't have to master the masters and the mistresses. I think the teachers have to master the AI to use it to augment their pedagogy and to treat their curriculum. Many a times, students and teachers feel overwhelmed that how to understand what is compassion, how to understand what is respect, how to understand what is sharing, how to understand what is empathy. Well, there is a way to go about that as well. We all remember pictures. We all remember colors. We all remember patterns. We all remember icons. Can we start thinking of compassion, which represents a color, an icon, and a pattern? Similarly, we can convert all our personal values. For example, being honest is a personal value. Can we extend it to the relational value where we want to cooperate with each other? And then can we take it to the third level, which is known as what we call planetary values. And if those personal, relational, and planetary values are converted into these colors and patterns and icons, it will be very easy for our students to understand it. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, after giving you that answer that yes, the children can be prepared for both the futures, giving you a curriculum, giving you a pedagogy, and I want to almost end what I am saying by raising 2 or 3 more questions and by giving you 2 or 3 more ideas. And it is important for that I tell you about myself that for 40 years in my life, both in the classrooms with the children and in the classrooms with the teachers, I have always been grappling with this question: can mental intelligence and the value ethics be taught together to all this community of teachers and students? The answer is yes. But I did not find this answer until I realized myself that when I walked into the classroom as a young teacher teaching physics, down the line I realized that no, I don't have to teach physics alone. I have to teach possibilities to my students. And from there the idea comes that we don't have to burden our students only with their skills and the layer of skills. We have to imbue in them and we have to enrich them by the layers of this human potential called Panch-kosh. I'm reminded of a saying by Nelson Mandela, who said very famously that education is the weapon that can change the world. If he was alive today, I can assure you, he would have said something to this effect, that education is the weapon. That is perfectly all right. But what is that weapon? That weapon is something which has the power of artificial intelligence and has the superpower of the inner self of the human beings. When these two powers combine together, we get a formidable weapon to change the world. And that is where the education becomes complete. And that is where AI meets the inner self to shape the new education paradigm, and our purposes will meet with the planetary values for the peace and prosperity of the entire universe. Thank you.